Hey guys, it's Piper. I'm going to read you guys a story I wrote in college the night before it was due. Of course, this is me we're talking about. It's about a supervillain who's already taken over the world, and now he's bored, so he's gone back to college to kill some time. If any of my old classmates are here, cool, nice coincidence you running across this video. I hope you enjoy hearing this train wreck again. Please respect my privacy by not sharing my personal information. Thank you. Now that that's out of the way, let's read this garbage first draft that's, well, it's funny. At best. Overlord, a super satire. I'm not even sure this is satire genre. The title is already wrong. Most people think that in order to take over the world, a villain must have a specific set of traits. You have to be purely evil, with no love for the world. Your superpowers must involve death, psychic abilities, and fire. Your evil lair must be surrounded by a moat of lava. You can't like Earth, since your end goal is usually to destroy it. Finally, you must be as antisocial as your helmet is spiky. They're right about needing said spiky helmet and the perfect set of traits, but couldn't be more wrong about the rest. My status has proven that one needs a certain amount of charisma and empathy to conquer the human race. I enslaved humanity so I could save humanity. That's my slogan. In reality, I just wanted to save the planet from a species that's stupid enough to destroy its own habitat. I love Earth. Plant life is everywhere, and I can control it. You can't run from something that you need in order to survive. So you can't run from me, Lord Dinganeck. Just some random name I picked from a creature in cryptozoology. It was almost too easy. As a side note, I also wanted to obliterate the schoolyard bully who called my powers gay when I was a kid. You think reviving plants from dead seeds and hastening their growth is gay? How about after you've eaten a packet of roasted sunflower seeds? Is your joke still funny when your intestines explode? Is it? Yes, my black armor and spiky helmet are frightful, but I would consider myself affable. As much as a supervillain can be, anyway. I'm a proponent for green energy, which has made more progress in this year than the past 20. Animal abuse is now punishable by death. Throwing away recyclable materials is tantamount to littering, which is a $15,000 fine per offense. Proceeds go to conservation efforts. Over 1.5 billion trees have been planted, and deforestation is at an all-time low, mainly because chopping down a tree is first-degree murder and poaching. It's safe to say I've achieved every goal I set out to accomplish. I mean, I literally have it all that's on Earth anyway. I have solid gold toilet seats. I even hired my own personal jazz band to follow me around everywhere I go so they can play background music when needed. They're rocking a cover of my favorite song, Pick Up the Pieces by Average White Band, as we speak. But none of it is enough to make me happy. First and foremost, almost everyone hates me. Times Magazine called me Father Nature last year, and the name ended up sticking. Stoated Unjolly Green Giant and Tree Fugger, a portmanteau of fuck and hugger. Actually kinda clever. My approval rating did rise from 0.003% to 3.12% since last year, but it appears people would rather have freedom and safety than breathe untainted oxygen, have stable incomes, and access to a 100% free college education. I've taken a great deal of precautions to ensure I don't lose my position as global dictator. I didn't gloat, stop to explain anything, or grant last words before slaying the heroes. I slaughtered any children or younger siblings who would grow up to seek revenge. I never take off my armor, save for when I shower and sleep, so nobody knows my real identity, or what I look like. But, in the words of my right-hand advisor, so, now what? Well, I say, I have a lot of free time now, and I'd like a new challenge. Guess I could take up figure skating. He shakes his head. It pains me to see you thinking so small. Why don't you find a nice evil overlady or something? For some things, there's no easy answer. A large variety of circumstances may impede your desires, or miscellaneous priorities may trump fun. This is not one of those things. Because everybody hates me, I say. He rests his chin at the base of his fist and hums. A lot of those, what are they called, the millennials, they have similar political views. What you need is something to make yourself more relatable, something that puts you in the public eye, something within the community. I lean back in my swivel chair and spin around, the toe of my steel spats scraping the tile floor. Whatever. Let me know when you think of something better than my Plant a Happy Tree Foundation. Well, he says. He seems unsure about his idea. Strange, he usually just spits things out whether he thinks I'll like it or not. Well, what? You could always go back to college, he says. College? The band stops playing and my advisor shudders. Yes, Lord Dinganeck, it's a great place to meet people with similar interests, and you can win the youth vote for sure. Not that there's actual voting or anything, it's just that popularity helps brainwash future generations, and I can't go back, I interrupted. I never bothered with it in the first place. I'd have to take all those shit classes first, like English 101. I'm 36, I don't even remember high school. Well, I figure you could always skip that, since you kind of own the entire world. I harden my jaw. No, that's part of the challenge. I will go to college, and I will crush it. Figuratively, I mean. When does the semester start? I can tell by his slight smirk that my advisor, whose name escapes me, is pleased to hear me agree. The fall semester has already started, but by term, I want in now. But, right now, set up my classes and bring me the makeup work. Wednesday, September 30th, 2017. Today was my second day of classes at university, and so far, it's been a breeze. On Tuesdays, I start off with Spanish. The professor gave me participation points just for showing up. In college algebra, the professor always said I was right, even when I got the answer wrong on purpose to test her. In English 101, the professor didn't even grade my assignment. He just wrote a big A+ in green ink. I was hoping for more of a challenge today when I got to history, but again, the professor gave me an A on a test I wasn't even there to study for. I still have one more class, Speech 101. Speeches are, without a doubt, my biggest strength, so this class will be a complete pushover. Why am I even bothering? My personal band is playing Winchester Cathedral by New Vaudeville Band as I walk down the halls, but this isn't how I want to make my first impression in class. It's too easygoing, too perky. I need something more dramatic, but not too evil. Guys, I want a jazz arrangement of Prokofiev's Dance of the Nights. Hit it. The instant the band starts playing, one of my armed guards swings the door open, and the other stations himself next to the door inside the classroom. My steel-toed boots clack on the ground with every slow, steady step I take. I have my back straight, my chest puffed out, my arms by my side. The students are silent, basking in fear and wonder at my grand entrance in full armor and evil regalia, whatever that is. The first guard closes the door behind me and salutes. Introducing His Excellence, Lord Dinganeck, to his peers and Professor Turnbull. He offers you his fondest greetings. Hoping nobody notices that my cape got caught in the door, I look down upon my people and smile. They can't tell I'm smiling because I'm still wearing my spiky steel helmet, but I've got this. The professor, a short Scottish woman, crosses her arms and tilts her head upward toward me. You're 5 minutes late. I know, I say. I wanted to make sure everyone would be present for my grand entrance. Take your seat, she says, humorless. After casually jerking my cape out the door, I survey my surroundings. There are 25 standard schoolhouse desks, each pointed toward the whiteboard. The room is completely undecorated, save for a Swedish ivy plant hanging in the window, and a motivational poster that was hung up with only one remaining piece of tape on the right corner. It reads, "Hang in there and never give up." As I make my way to the only available seat in the middle of the classroom, my peers scoot their desks away like the parting of the Red Sea. The hardest part was getting my backpack straps over my pauldrons. Pauldrons are shoulder armor. When I finally managed to situate myself, the professor is standing behind her podium. She finishes up roll call and calls my name last. Lord Dinganeck, I'm going to have to ask you to remove your helmet and mask. No. Professor Turnbull raises her eyebrows and does one of those weird frowns where only the right side of her mouth droops. Then I'm afraid I'm going to have to mark you absent for the day. Why? I'm not going down without a fight. You could sneak other people in behind the mask and have others do your work for you. I don't have to explain the distrust. Also, helmets count as hats, which are not allowed. It's in the syllabus. I scowl. What? Are you serious? It's a security risk. I don't want anyone to know what I look like. They could assassinate me if they catch me in plain clothes without armor, for fuck's sake. Why do you think my real identity is a secret? I don't want to have to suit up every time I go to the 7-Eleven to buy a bag of chips. She swipes a single mark across the paper to answer my question. I glance at the spider plant hanging in the corner. I'm tempted to wrap it around her neck, but I realize this is my challenge. You can't conquer academia through bloodshed. I'll just have to make up for the lost participation points through hard work. My band, who has set themselves up in the far corner of the classroom, plays The Longest Day. Fitting, though it wasn't entirely terrible. There's a cute girl who sits in the front row. Excuse me. She's the hippie bohemian type, with greenish-blue hair and a nose ring. I must confess that I spend more time staring at her than I should. Meanwhile, she's staring out the window. I try to cut it down to occasional glances, because I'm distracting myself. I almost missed the professor's explanation of the 1-minute-long speech presentation Monday. After class, once I managed to talk myself into suppressing my fear that she'll laugh at me, I introduce myself personally and ask her name and major. Unfortunately, we can't think of anything to discuss beyond her, Shelley Berkovich, being a botany major who approves of my determination to stand up for my mask. At least she gave me her phone number, but I'm supposed to text her rather than call. Shelley's not great with people skills, making this class her natural enemy, but I've already decided she's perfect. A rebellious enabler who hates people and loves plants. I can't do any better. Monday, October 5th, 2017. Lord Dinganeck? Here. Please remove your mask. I cross my arms, lean back in my chair, and scowl. Still, Professor Turnbull doesn't budge an inch. Exactly as she did Wednesday, she raises her eyebrows and marks me absent. I groan. My classmates are trying their hardest not to laugh at someone who could sentence them to death, not that I actually would. Immature shitheads. Still, I must behave myself if I want good press, and if I want to impress Shelley. She's so nice and courteous to everyone in the room, even though she clearly hates them as much as I do. To fix yesterday's staring problem, I sat directly behind her today. Since the lenses in my helmet are tinted like sunglasses, nobody can see my eyes. This enables me to stare at her to my heart's content so long as I keep my head pointed toward the teacher. It's not creepy, it's social science. My band covered Marcus Miller's jazz arrangement of the Moonlight Sonata during my 1-minute speech that I pulled out my ass on the spot. I've always had a deep-seated hatred of humanity, I say. Irregardless, even in my younger days, I found comfort in art. Mankind isn't always destructive. Beautiful things can come from a man's hands. I held the arts in the highest esteem, taking them as evidence of mankind's brilliance. Paintings and music, literature and poetry. Or at least, that's what I used to think. As time passed, pop culture grew worse and worse. After a popular missing person case in 2015, I was gifted a poetry anthology written by a douchey writer named Lupo. It was so tragically awful that I was about to give up on humanity forever, and I knew I had to do something, hell, anything, to fix it. I had to stop for a moment. A few people were laughing, not at me, but with me. They agree with me about Lupo. But the second I was about to open my mouth to continue, Professor Turnbull pauses her stopwatch. Time. But I'm not done yet. I had to pause so everyone could laugh. It's been 60 seconds, you're done, says Professor Turnbull. The music promptly stops playing. And you've failed. The assignment was supposed to be about what inspired you, not what straw broke the camel's back. Oh, and irregardless isn't the word. Why do you hate me so much? The professor raises her eyebrows as usual. Relax, woman, that was rhetorical. I know you think I'm a Green Party extremist. But when her lips tighten, I realize it's time for me to sit down. My plans have been foiled, but I won't cave. I look to the lonely motivational poster. Hang in there and never give up. In an attempt to make my day better, I text Shelley later, but I find that she's even worse at texting than she is at talking. We muse about plans to visit a greenhouse together sometime, or maybe copulate on the beach, but it's all talk. My advisor later says this is called sexting. You learn something new every day. Wednesday, October 7th, 2017. Lord Dinganeck, here. Please remove your mask. With the snap of my fingers, the band plays O Fortuna to up the suspense. I take off my helmet and set it on the desk. All eyes are on me when I rest my thumb and index finger under my chin. Using only my right hand, I start from the base of my mask and pull it up over my head. I toss the mask onto the desk, lean back, and fail to hold back an evil cackle. Professor Turnbull shakes her head. You can't just pull off your mask to reveal another mask. Stop making up new rules! When she marks me absent a third time, I growl and slam both of my fists onto the desk. My plan was foiled again. The band abruptly shifts to Odette. It's a little dramatic for the situation at hand. Something awful is about to happen, and they can feel it. I brace myself. Just a reminder, she says. One more unexcused absence and you automatically fail the class. What are you talking about? It's in the syllabus, she says, shifting through her briefcase. Attendance is mandatory, and you can only accumulate 3 unexcused absences. I take the deepest breath I can and clench my fists. It's all I can do to keep myself from going on a murderous rampage. I can't bear to listen to another minute of the professor reading directly from the assignment guidelines for Monday's speech. Unnoticed by everyone but me, the motivational poster falls off the wall. After class, I went straight to my evil lair. I've been complaining to my advisor for at least an hour now while a jazz instrumental of Lana Del Rey's Born to Die plays in the background. When he finally tries to get himself dismissed by reminding me that he's not my therapist, I lash out. I don't know what to do! I shout so loudly that my voice echoes off the walls. I'm done! I'm fucking done! My advisor is undaunted by my villainous meltdown. Quit whining. You must choose between what is easy and what is right. If you want to stay in the class, you have no choice but to remove your mask. But you don't understand! He's unconvinced, and there's only one way I can explain it to him. I angle myself to where only the advisor can see me, and I remove my mask. He stares in awe. My God, no one will ever take you seriously again. See? It's awful! I promptly put my mask back on like I'm naked without it. No, he says. You can use this to your advantage. Lord Dinganeck, you know what must be done. I nod. Let's do this. Noticing my sudden shift in tone, the band moves to the triumphant battle without honor or humanity. A perfect selection as always. Nobody gets me quite like my jazz band. Monday, October 12th, 2017. Lord Dinganeck, here. Please remove your mask. After a curt nod to my band, they play the song we had agreed on for this moment. The good, the bad, and the ugly. I crack my knuckles and make direct eye contact with Professor Turnbull, silently communicating that today will be her downfall. She returns my gaze with that same impatient eyebrow raise and that weird half-mouthed frown. I start from the bottom just as before, only now I've lifted it enough to where my naked jawline is exposed. Some classmates gasp. Some speak in hushed voices. And I assume the others are staring in silence. I can't tell you for sure because my eyes are still locked on Professor Turnbull's. I glare, and she returns my gesture. On with it, she says. I slide the mask over my lips. I think you mean off with it! The spandex tickles my nose, causing me to sneeze. I panic for a moment, having broken the glare, but nobody laughs at me. This, I decide, will be a historic moment. I tilt my head back and remove the mask at last. As an instrumental cover of Fall Out Boy's Centuries plays, don't judge my taste, almost every woman in the room has something to say. He's so beautiful, says the awkward shy girl. Adorable, whispers the quiet girl in the back. He looks like the improbable love child of Shamar Moore and Beyonce, says the closet nerd. Can I pet your afro? Says the creepy girl who always breathes through her mouth. Stop, you're making me question my morals, says the girl no one ever talks to. I bet he has a tragic backstory to tell us, says the anime-obsessed otaku. There's only one girl I want to hear from, though, and that's Shelly. I glance at her for as long as I dare, but she isn't even looking at me. She has nothing to say, and that makes my chest thump. I hold my breath, waiting for input from Professor Turnbull. Well played, she says. I acknowledge that you are present. When she writes a check mark next to my name, I can finally breathe. But it's not over. Not yet, anyway. I step up to the podium to deliver my midterm speech. Rather than putting an honest effort into it, my advisor told me what kinds of things I should talk about to get the best press. Hidden cameras were set up in the room so my speech could be leaked to YouTube, and a band plays the same cover of the Moonlight Sonata that they did for my 1-minute speech. I grew up in a broken home, I say. It wasn't always that way. I was born to a white mother and a black mother through in vitro fertilization. I don't know which one was the carrier or which was the donor. I would ask them, but they were murdered before my very eyes when an arsonist burned down our home as a hate crime. Everything was destroyed, leaving me with not even a single photo to remember them by. They never found the guy who did it, but I'll never forget the pain I felt. The only thing that kept me from burning on the inside was the Bruce Wayne-sized inheritance. When you're rich, everyone wants to be your friend. I continue to rant in that direction for another 10 minutes. By the time I'm done, my newly gained fangirls are in tears. I've done it. I've earned the youth vote. And when the professor gives me a thumbs up, I know I'm on the right path to conquering academia as well. After class, I catch up with Shelly. I wanted to wait until my moment of triumph to ask her out on a date, and now I'm more ready than ever. If I play my cards right, we can really visit that greenhouse and copulate on the beach. She's the one, I know it. Hey, would you like to go out with me this way? I'm sorry, she says, but seeing you without the mask kind of ruined it for me. It killed the fantasy. I was picturing something more along the lines of Loki. When I say nothing, she gets uncomfortable. Look, I'll see you around, okay? I squint. Did you just compare me to a Marvel character? As she shrugs and walks away, the band plays Pick Up the Pieces and the credits roll. Shelley went on to marry a Tom Hiddleston look-alike. She and Dinganeck kept in touch, strictly platonic. The jazz band composed a theme song for Dinganeck. It made it to #1 on iTunes, but nobody admits to liking it. The advisor, whose name Dinganeck still cannot remember, was given a $12.50 raise on the hour. Professor Turnbull passed Lord Dinganeck with an 89.99% B+. Oddly enough, he didn't complain too much. Thanks to Lord Dinganeck's good looks, his approval rating skyrocketed to 18.03% overnight. Unfortunately, at no point in his reign did he ever become more popular than George Bush in 2008. The end. Well, there are a lot of issues with that story, some of which I'm sure you've already picked up on your first listen. The intro was disproportionately long, and I didn't do much with the world building, and it's weird that the main character is that immature at 36. I think it'd be funnier if he was just really out of touch as a non-traditional student, and I played more with the non-traditional student kind of theme. But, considering how quickly I shat this out, I'm just glad it's not worse. It's actually based on an idea I had for a TV show, but I don't think I'm the right person to write this story. I'd happily turn it into, a screenplay for a pilot and sell it. Is that something people do in Hollywood? Whatever. Who am I kidding? Who would watch this train wreck? This show is garbage. It's not even here, and I can only tell it could only go downhill from that point on. Well, whatever. I hope you all liked it, or at least laughed. Thank you. Please rate, subscribe, and have a great day. Bye.